What's going on, guys? It's Luke here. Going to run through this trade recap from today that we took. One trade on NQ. Not an ideal trade. I ended up managing this trade for a very small loss, just 5 point loss, and then it actually ended up running perfectly to the take profit that I wanted. I'm going to talk about it all in the video. Not the greatest price action today. I wasn't really a fan of it, but I was trying to take something just because I was confident in the draws and liquidity. So coming into the day, we were still respecting off of this daily bullish fair value gap. And same thing on the 4 hour, we were still respecting off of this bullish fair value gap. And after market open, we had came down. We had already swept out London and Asia lows, and then we came down and we swept out all these hourly lows in here. So I was actually looking for reversal back up to AM highs and then these relative equal highs at London and Thursday New York PM highs and up there. But from the top, we already have this SMT. NQ made a lower low, ES made a higher low on the higher time frame. A lower high and a higher high, and then price started to flood down right after market open. So initially after market open, price came down and swept out the previous day low, and I actually wanted to get longs off the previous day low, but the problem was we had this 5 minute gap right here that we'd be trading into, and I didn't feel like I wanted to take a trade into this gap. So then price ends up coming up and it respects this 15 minute bearish FEG right here. So it taps into this gap, and then we start getting a reaction down, and at this point I'm like, we swept previous day low, we tapped into a gap. I wanted to see longs at this point right off this level right here. So I was actually trying to look for longs right here, and I ended up taking a break even at this point. I got in like off like a 30-second or a 1 minute inverse, and I ended up closing it like right away at break even just because I didn't like how price was moving. Like if you look on the 1 minute chart, price was just chopping and chopping. I got in like right here, and then I just ended up closing it. I wanted to see if price was going to dig deeper into this gap, and it ended up pushing right through it. So luckily I did close and manage that one properly. But again, we're still delivering off this 15 minute gap, and the reason I thought price was going to go lower was because if you actually look at these AM lows, let me actually put the replay tool back on so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let's go to the replay tool right over here. So at the time, these were the AM lows, and as you can see, these were equal lows right here. So I figured this was a strong drawn liquidity, and then below that we had this 15 minute first presented fair value gap. If you actually look all the way over here, this was an old 15 minute gap right here that was the initial gap on this price leg that pushed price all the way up. So this is a first presented gap. I've made videos on this, but basically it's just the first presented gap on a massive leg to the upside, and price loves to seek these out. Even though this one's been wicked into, it's still a valuable gap to us. So coming over here again, even though we swept out the previous day low, price pushed up. It's reacting off this 15 minute bearish FEG. From there, the 5 minutes running through this 5 minute bullish gap, and then we close below it and we get this retrace. And what I'm starting to notice at this point is that this 4 hour gap actually got inversed. So if you look at this 4 hour bullish fair value gap, it actually got closed below and it's getting retraced into. So we inversed the 4 hour bearish or bullish fair value gap. It's getting retested now. We're delivering off of a 15 minute bearish FEG, and price is pushing down. Now on the 5 minute, we inversed a bullish gap, we closed below it, we wicked back into it. So at this point, I'm scaling down and I'm looking for an entry to take out these relative equal AM lows and then come down to that first presented fair value gap from the left over there. And I think that was from Tuesday. From Tuesday. So I end up scaling down. I don't really see anything. And then on the 30-second, I don't have it on TradingView, but I ended up taking an entry right here at 8:02, and I posted it in the Discord, the exact entry. I'll show you guys. So I ended up taking an entry around 8:02, and then we pushed down about 15 points in profit. But at this point, it was already 11 o'clock, and I didn't like how price was moving. So around this point right here, I just said, if we push above these highs, I'm just going to close it out for a small loss or a break even, whatever. And I ended up closing it out just for a 5 point loss, just because I just didn't like how price was moving. It was just moving too choppy, and I wanted to be more confident in my setup that we were going to come down to these AM lows. So I ended up closing out just for a slight 5 point loss, but my initial stop loss was above this 5 minute inverted fair value gap. So from there, price ends up actually going up, and we actually would have stayed in this trade, and it would have came down to hit full take profit, and ends up taking out these AM relative equal AM lows, and then it fills that 15 minute first presented, which would have been a 1.61R trade. So again, we take a small so video cut out there. I don't know what was going on, but anyway, we ended up taking again this small loss, but the idea played out. price ends up delivering perfectly off that 15-minute first presented fair value gap. It's actually crazy how strong those levels are. I'll make more videos on them when I get more examples. But yeah, everything in the Discord again, guys. Trading recap, videos, all that stuff like that. Market analysis every single day. I had the entry today where I showed it and then ended up closing it and all that stuff. So everything's in there. Link in the description, link in the pinned comment if you guys want to join. So that's gonna wrap it up for this quick one, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll be back with the trade. I got a video coming out tomorrow and then Sunday too. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Check the links in my description, and I'll talk to you guys then. Peace.